Hey everybody, hope you're all doing well. I'm going to be talking to you about the data set I chose, the sketch I have in mind, and a quick preview of the prototype I've implemented so far for our data visualization project. So first things first, the data set. My data set is looking at heart disease prevalence in patients, and I found this data set on UCI's machine learning dataset repository. Now I chose this dataset because it has categorical, discrete, and real-valued features, which I figured would give me a good amount of options for utilizing various visualization techniques. This dataset is relatively small, with only 303 observations and 14 features. And as I mentioned before, this dataset came from a machine learning repository, so it has a target variable, and this target variable is four-way classification, which categorizes the severity of heart disease diagnosis in a patient. All of the features are measurements of characteristics related to the health of a patient, and some of the features that I chose to focus on are listed here. So we have the age and sex of a patient, the type of chest pain, a patient's resting blood pressure, cholesterol levels, and the maximum heart rate that a patient achieved during exercise. And the dataset can be found at this link for those that are interested. So the sketch that I put together involved three different data visualization techniques. The first of which is a bubble plot. Now, with my bubble plot, I wanted to explore the relationship between a patient's age and a patient's maximum heart rate achieved during exercise. The size of each bubble is the patient's cholesterol level, and the color of the bubble is the patient's sex. My second data visualization technique is a parallel coordinates. I wanted my parallel coordinates to really allow the user to explore a wide variety of relationships between features by interactively brushing and panning across feature windows. Finally, for my small multiples, I wanted to look at a histogram of patients' cholesterol levels across different levels of chest pain. As far as the overall structure of the web page that I will put together, I'm hoping to have one initial web page that introduces the data, and from this web page, I want to provide links to each individual visualization. So I want to put each individual visualization on its own web page, and I'm imagining that the links themselves will be sort of non-interactive snapshots of each visualization, so the user will know what kind of visualization technique is used on each page. And that is my proposed sketch. So let's get to a quick preview of my implemented prototype. So here we've got my bubble plot. As I mentioned before, it is looking at maximum heart rate of a patient as a function of age. And so far I've implemented a simple tooltip that shows the patient's cholesterol level, as well as automatic focusing to hopefully declutter this dense data cloud that we've got in the middle here. And just initial observations from this, you can see a slightly negative correlation between a patient's age and the maximum heart rate that that patient achieved during exercise. For future functionality, I would like to implement some brushing to allow the user to focus in on a subset of data points. I'm also going to add a legend that has some summary statistics of each sex as a tooltip. And if we scroll down, we've got my parallel coordinates. Since the primary purpose of this visualization is to allow the user to do some custom exploration of relationships within the data, I've implemented brushing and panning so far. So let's say I wanted to explore relationship features for males with a 10-year age window. Then by simply panning up and down, this lets the user kind of see how these features tend to move with age for males, and we can do the same thing for females. As far as future interactivity, I'm thinking of implementing a checkbox that will show either males or females instead of the user kind of having to pan up and down like this. I would also like to add the option to reorder the axes by horizontal dragging to give the user even more freedom when exploring this visualization. And that is the current prototype. I've still got a lot to implement, including the small multiples and a lot of interactivity, but I hope you guys enjoyed what I've got so far.